The psychological reconstruction of Iran, from authoritarianism to a democratic culture. Article 1. Why changing the government alone is not enough to build a free society. If you ask Iranians about their greatest hopes, many will speak of freedom, justice, prosperity, security, and human dignity. Yet an even more important question remains: does the fall of an authoritarian regime by itself guarantee the realization of these aspirations? The experience of many nations suggests that the answer is no. History has repeatedly shown that people can overthrow dictatorships, but if their political culture, patterns of thinking, and social relationships continue to be shaped by exclusion, hostility, monopolization of power, and the division of society into us and them, authoritarianism is likely to return, only under a different name and with a different face. For this reason, Iran's greatest challenge after the Islamic Republic will not simply be the transfer of political power. It will be the psychological, cultural, and social reconstruction of society. Over nearly 5 decades, the Islamic Republic has done far more than weaken Iran's economy, political system, and public institutions. It has also influenced the way millions of Iranians think, feel, and relate to one another. Fear, distrust, self-censorship, the creation of enemies, social polarization, ideological judgments of people, and the normalization of silencing dissent are not merely characteristics of an authoritarian state. They become psychological patterns that, unless consciously addressed, may survive long after the regime itself has disappeared. The transition ahead is therefore not only political, it is a transition from an authoritarian culture to a democratic one. Democracy is born in people's minds before it is expressed through the ballot box. A society that still regards political opponents as enemies, wishes to eliminate them, or believes that human rights belong only to those who share its views, will remain vulnerable to reproducing authoritarianism, even under the world's most democratic constitution. This series of articles therefore seeks to move beyond the immediate question of political change and address a more fundamental one. How can a society that has lived for decades under authoritarian rule prepare itself to thrive within a democratic culture? The answer cannot be found in political science alone. It requires an interdisciplinary perspective that brings together human rights, psychology, psychiatry, neuroscience, social psychology, sociology, and political science. Freedom is not merely a legal principle. It is also a psychological capacity and a social competence that individuals and communities must learn, strengthen, and protect. Accordingly, the articles that follow will examine freedom of religion and conscience, freedom of thought and expression, cultural freedom, the rights of ethnic communities, equality between women and men, the dignity of sexual minorities, transitional justice, national reconciliation, and civic responsibility from 2 complementary perspectives. First, they will be considered as fundamental human rights, as affirmed in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Second, they will be explored as essential conditions for psychological well-being, the reduction of violence, the growth of social trust, and the development of a resilient democratic culture. The purpose of this series is not simply to defend a catalogue of rights and freedoms. Its broader ambition is to contribute to a national conversation about Iran's psychological and cultural reconstruction. A reconstruction without which no political transformation can remain stable or enduring. If we truly believe that the future of Iran should be a shared home for all Iranians, we must begin today by practicing a simple but demanding principle: to defend freedom not only for ourselves, but also for others, including those whose beliefs, religion, ethnicity, lifestyle, or political views differ from our own. That is where democratic culture begins, and where society takes its first meaningful steps toward healing the enduring wounds of authoritarianism. Mahmoud Ashkanian, neuropsychiatrist, PhD.